We started the distillery as a second choice. We originally wanted to buy the property and make a place for rock climbers to come and spend the weekend while they're climbing on the nearby cliffs. And we had some obstruction by some of our neighbors that kept us busy for a couple of years and ate up quite a bit of our money, so we decided we better do something else. But I discovered the new A1 distillery license, which had just been passed in New York, which significantly lowered the fee for a distillery and made it possible to make a small distillery.
When Ralph Erenzo and his partner Brian Lee first started producing Hudson Whiskey, they had no experience in the field, but they were determined to learn every step of the process and get it to their prospective customers in whatever way they could.
I would spend one day making the whiskey, the next day bottling the whiskey, and then the third day loading it in the back of my car and driving out into the Hudson Valley and down to Manhattan. Often I would walk into a retail store and there would be 6 or 7 liquor salesmen lined up waiting for the owner, and I would go to the counter and introduce myself, and someone in the back would go, "Oh, another liquor salesman." And I'd say, "No, I'm not a liquor salesman. I made this, and it's the first whiskey made in New York since Prohibition," and it always got me to the head of the line. We make 2 kinds of bourbon. Both of them are roughly 60% corn. In order to be called bourbon, it has to be at least 51% corn. But we also make rye from rye grain, and a single malt from malted barley, and a corn whiskey, which is an unaged version of one of our bourbons. We're not of the opinion that just because it's older, it's better, and just because it's older, it should cost more. We're of the opinion that when it's right, we take it out of the barrel and we put it in a bottle, whether it's 6 months or a year or 2 years.
And even the bottles themselves illustrate Erenzo and Lee's willingness to break the mold and how it has paid off with their customers.
It's another example of us throwing out the advice of the experts who told us you can only put it in 750s, nobody will buy it in a 375. And we said we can't afford to fill 750s, so we just went ahead anyway and filled the 375s. And after a while, bartenders and store owners were telling us we don't want the 750s. The 375 draws attention. People see it on the bar right away. And so we kept it. People have accused us of thinking outside the box, but I always say to the staff that there is no box. Start from scratch, start from nothing, and I want to hear all the ideas. We do things like what's been called in-house as sonic maturation, and what we do is we introduce a very heavy bass rap line into the room through big speakers suspended from the ceiling, and that really does agitate the liquid inside the barrels, and it speeds up the withdrawal of aroma and color from the wood.
And this kind of innovation, combined with the quality of their product, has garnered the interest of William Grant & Sons, a large distiller with multiple brands, who approached Erenzo and Lee about doing business together.
After about a year or so of negotiation, they acquired our Hudson Whiskey brand, and they gave us a contract to continue producing it exactly the same way. The tradition that we're following is not the tradition of making whiskey the same way for over 100 years. It's the American tradition that I can do this. I can teach this to myself, I can start with nothing, and I can make it work.